Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Jai Shri Ram. Welcome to our complete reading of Srimad Valmiki Ramayana. In the previous episode, we saw that Manthara got to know about SriRamapattabhisheka and she quickly proceeded into the palace or the quarters of Kaikeyi. And Manthara was Kaikeyi's Dasi and she came from Kaikeyi's maternal home. So, looking at the conversation, we can understand that probably she was there with Kaikeyi since her birth and she had a lot of love for her. So, there is one interesting thing in Ramayana. Whenever you feel that the Ramayana story is going to end, there all you would see one lady. She will come and she will extend the story of Ramayana. See, here, if Manthara does not go and inform Kaikeyi about this, or if she does not brainwash Kaikeyi about sending Sri Ramachandra to Vanavasa and all, Ramayana would be over here itself, because Sri Ramachandra would become the king, Sita Ma would become the queen, and once they're king and queen, there is no point for Ravana or anyone to come to Ayodhya or taking her away. No, that all would not have been feasible. So here we see that Manthara comes, she brainwashes Kaikeyi, and from there the story would move forward. Again, in Ayodhyakanda, where we see that the 13 years of Vanavasa is over, and when they are in the final year, if that 1 year is over, everything would have been fine. No, but there another lady comes, Surpanaka. She comes, she confesses her love for Sri Ramachandra, then she wants to go and kill Sita Ma. That's where she loses her nose and her ears, and from there she goes to Ravana. Ravana comes using Maricha, he sends Sri Ramachandra and Lakshmana far away from Sita Ma, and then he takes Sita Ma away with him, and puts her in Ashoka Vatika, and there the story extends again. So that's the root of all this is again who? A woman, Surpanaka. In Sundarakanda, again we see that Sitama at one point of time, she feels like killing herself. That's when Trijata comes, she gives her Swapna Vrittanta, and again the story gets extended. So whenever there is a point in Srimad Ramayana where we think that the story is going to end here, we always see that a woman comes and extends the story. Okay, that way. Right now we are at the episode of Manthara. So now Manthara has seen the entire celebrations that are happening in Ayodhya, and now she moves to Kaikeyi's quarters, and she is now going to inform Kaikeyi about SriRamapattabhisheka. Now, why was Kaikeyi not informed till now? Because one, Dasharatha wanted to inform or give this news to Kaikeyi himself, and we'll see how he wanted to break this news to her. But then before that, Manthara has already come there, and we are going to see what Manthara is going to do now. So Kaikeyi was actually sleeping because this whole thing is happening in the night. So that's where we said, right, the whole diyas or the whole lamps were lit in the streets of Ayodhya. Everywhere, the fireworks were going on. People were putting rangolis in front of their house. So all this was happening during the night. And so at the night, this Manthara has gone. Kaikey is happily sleeping on her Hamsatulika Kalpa, and now Manthara has gone there, and now look at the way she is addressing Kaikeyi. Okay, what is she saying? She is saying, Uttishta mudhe kimseshe bhayam tvam abhivartate upapluta mahaughena kimatmanam na buddhyase. So here, this Dasi, see, she is actually a servant, and when do you think a servant can address her master as Mudhe? Mudhe means someone who lacks intelligence, someone who lacks intellect, someone who lacks even anything beyond a little common sense. Okay, so she's saying Uttishta Mudhe. Uttishta means wake up or stand up. Mudhe Kim Seshe. So Sesha here is not a reminder. Sesha here means sleeping. Okay, that's where we say Sesha Sai, right? So someone Sesha Sai actually refers to Sri Mahavishnu, where Sesha here means sleeping. Okay, Kim Seshe, why are you sleeping? Bhayam Tvam Abhivartate. Bhayam is, right, fear. So the fear is going to engulf you. Tvam is you. Abhivartate. Abhivartate means coming closer. Abhivartate is someone coming closer towards you. That's called abhivartana. Abhivartate means that actually. So she's saying, Bhayam tvam abhivartate upapluta mahaughena kimatmanam na budhyase. Upaplutam means something that is going to surround you. Imagine water coming like a gush of water rushing towards you and actually going above your head. That is upapluta mahaughena. Maha is big. Mahaughena here, aghaughena here means aghauha is refers to sorrow. So she's saying that you are going to get engulfed in sorrow in a few days. Upapluta mahaughena kimatmanam na budhyase. Budhyase here means knowing something. So she's asking, when you are being engulfed by bhaya or fears, or by mahaugha means huge sorrow, when you're going to get engulfed by huge sorrow, why are you not able to even understand it? Okay, now see, this sloka actually tells us that Manthara and Kaikeyi's relationship is much more than a dasi and a queen's relationship. Probably Manthara had an influence on Kaikeyi right from her childhood. This is not explicitly mentioned anywhere, but this is a deduction that we can draw from what has just transpired between both of them. So Kaikeyi here is very clearly happy being addressed that way, because she is not admonishing or something. We will see in the next sloka how Kaikeyi responds. So otherwise just imagine if someone comes to you, and if a servant maid comes to you and talks like this, would her job be there at least for the next few hours? No, anyone would have dismissed. But here Kaikeyi is not admonishing her, she is not dismissing her, which essentially means that the relationship between Manthara and Kaikeyi is much stronger than a servant and a master relationship. Okay, and one more lesson that we get to hear from here is, if someone is addressing you this way and you find that the reason is not correct, and still you're getting addressed this way, then you should also understand that you're being taken for granted, and that's not a very nice way when we look back. Now let us look at the next sloka. Anishte subhagakare saubhagyena vikatha se chalam hi tava saubhagyam nadya srota ivoshnage. So again, Manthara is saying, O Kaikeyi, subhagakare means, you portray yourself as you are the closest or you are the dearest to your husband, but you are actually anishte. Anishte means someone who is not really liked. Ishta, Anishta. Ishta is liking, Anishta is not liking. So Anishte means you are not liked by your husband. And then Saubhagyena Vikathase. You are just showing out as if you are very, very liked. But no, that's not the case. Ushnage Nadya Iva Tava Saubhagyam Chalamhi. Okay. So Ushnage. Ushnage is Grishma Rutu. Nadyaha. So in summer, Grishma Ritu is summer. So in summer, the way the river or the river bed dries up, similarly, Tava, Saubhagyam, your entire Bhagya or your entire possessions or your entire whatever worth you have, all this is going to dry up. It's chimchala, it is going to go away. It's not stable. That's what she's meaning. So she's saying, while you think that you are liked by your husband, you are not liked. And while you think that the love of your husband, the material possessions you have, all that are going to stay here, no, they are going to dry up the way a river dries up in summer. So see, when someone wants to dope you, right, look at the conversation here. It's extremely important to understand what the conversation here is. When someone wants to really persuade you to take a decision, the way they start is, they might start by admonishing you, make you think, array, what has happened? Why is this person talking like this? And then they slowly they dope your thought process in such a way that you think the way they want you to think. That is what is happening to Kaikeyi here. But Kaikeyi initially resists this. She initially understands this. And furthermore, this also talks about why we should keep some people at arm's length before, when we have taken advice or when they are going to come and talk to us. All that we will be seeing in this conversation between Manthara and Kaikeyi. Again, in Srimad Ramayana, conversations are extremely important because in every conversation is a treasure trove. And we have just seen how Manthara has just started her conversation because she wants Kaikeyi to do something now. What is that something? She wants Kaikeyi to stop SriRama Yuvarajya Pattabhisheka. Okay, Kaikeyi, she has heard this. Eva Mukta tu Kaikeyi Rushtaya Parusham Vacha Kubjaya Papadarsinya Vishada Maga Matparam. So she's saying, Kaikeyi, listen to this. And Kaikeyi felt bad. And the bad, it's not like, she got hurt or something. She somehow felt sad. Okay. And then she's asking, Kaikeyi Twabravit Kubjam Kachit Kshemam na Mandhare Vishanna Vadanam Hitvam Lakshaye Bhrusadukhitam. So now Kaikeyi, here Mandhara is being addressed as Kubja. Kubja means someone whose organs are not in proper way. For example, in Srimad Ramayana, Manthara is told to have a bent back. You see old people who walk with a stick, their backs are bent permanently, right? Yeah, so that sort of, in Telugu we call it Gooni, where people, their back is not straight, it's bent permanently. Okay, so she's in that particular way and she holds a stick in her hand. So Mandhara, so that's where the word Kubja is being used here. And now Kaikeyi is saying, oh Manthara, what has happened? Is there a problem to our well-being? Okay, she's saying, Kachit Kshemam na Mandhare. So she's saying, is there a problem to our well-being? And why is your face looking so sad? Why are you crying? And then, see, Kaikeyi is talking in a very, very calm tone. She is not at all angry. She's just trying to understand. So Kaikeyi is actually showing some judgment as a queen here. And now, immediately, the moment she realized that Kaikeyi is ready to listen, because she got that initial attraction, or she got that initial attention. Manthara got the initial attention that is needed for her to start the conversation. Now she has started by saying, Sa Vishannatara Bhutva Kubja Tasya Hitaishini Vishadayanti Provacha Bhedayanti Cha Raghavam. So Manthara started, see, Bhedayanti Cha Raghavam. So she is now trying to break Kaikeyi's heart, from Sri Ramachandra. Kaikeyi has a motherly love towards Sri Ramachandra. Now she wants to break that particular bond that Kaikeyi has with Sri Ramachandra. So she has started, Akshayam Sumahaddevi Pravurtam Tadvinasanam Ramam Dasaratho Raja Yavvarajyevi Pekshyati. Hey Rani, hey Kaikeyi, you have got Akshayam Sumahat Tadvinasanam Pravurtam. What does that essentially means? Akshayam is limitless. Sumahat is huge. So it's the dukkha that you are going to get is limitless and also huge in both the dimensions. And what is it? It is coming to destroy you. Pravrittam. Pravrittam means God created. So something God created, and that is going to give you limitless and huge or humongous destruction to you. And what is that? Dasharatha, the king, the Ramam Dasharatho Raja Yavvarajyebhi Pekshyati. So what Yavvarajyebhi Pekshyati. So what does it essentially mean? Dasharatha is going to anoint Rama as a Yuvaraja or his true successor. And then she is saying, Sasmagade Bhaye Magna Dukkha Soka Samanvita Dahyamana Naleneva Twaddihartha Mihagata. By listening to this, I am engulfed in sorrow and I am feeling as if I am being burnt. So, because I am not able to handle this, I have come to you so that I can help you, because you also would almost be in the same place. And hey Kaikeyi, if you are sad, I will become sad. If you make progress in life, I will feel that I have progressed in life. Hence, there is no doubt in this. And then, Naradhipakule jata mahishitvam mahipadeha ugratvam rajadharmanam katham devina buddhyase. So she's saying, hey Kaikeyi, you are born into the family of Kshatriyas, in the family of kings, and you are the most important among the wives of Dasharatha. And then, why are you not able to understand the kruratva, the cruelty of royal matters? And then, now she is directly attacking the king in the next sloka. I am going shloka by shloka. This is the seventh sarga of Ayodhyakanda. I am going almost shloka by shloka. Anyone who wants to really go back and check for all these slokas, they might probably start from shloka number 14. That's where I have started. And we are right now at the 23rd shloka. I'm going with every shloka only to reinforce the point that I want you to understand how the conversations happen and how Ramayana shows us by example as to how, if someone wants to influence your thought process, how well they'll talk, and how you should be very, very careful when you are listening to them, because they look like they are working for your good. In their heart also they might be wanting your good, but then their plans might be completely detrimental, and you should still use your judgment. That is the whole thing of this conversation between Manthara and Kaikeyi, and how to persuade people. This is a big lesson here. Okay, now she's saying Naradhipa Kule Jata Mahishitvam Mahipade Ugratvam Rajadharmanam Kadam Devi na Buddhise. We just saw that. She has just said that you're born in the king's families, you're the most important of the queens, and then how are you not able to see the cruelty that comes in Rajadharma? We just saw that. So now we are going to the sloka number 24. Dharmavadi Seto Bharta Slakshnavadi cha Darunah Shuddha Bhavena Janishe Tenaiva Mati Sandhita. She's saying your husband keeps telling about truth, okay, but then he is harming you indirectly in a closed manner. He is harming you. Slakshnavadi is a very nice word. Someone who talks very, very sweetly is called Slakshnavadi. It is saying Slakshnavadi Daruna. He talks very sweetly, but he is a person who is completely filled with cruelty. And then she is addressing Kaikeyi as Shuddha Bhave. So you are a person, a lot of purity, your heart is very, very pure. Shuddha Bhave na janishe, you are not knowing. Tenaiva matisandhita, the way your husband is going to deceive you, you are not knowing. See, any woman with any iota of respect for herself and her husband would have now stood up and said, how dare you talk against my husband? Because, there are few lines which nobody should cross even in marriage. When you're married, if someone is crossing the line by criticizing your spouse, at some point of time, you should stand up and say, hey, this is not a conversation that I would be having. That's the minimum thing to say. And if you can't resist, if you can't fight that person, you probably should walk away from the place. But here in the hierarchical manner, this lady Manthara is still as a maid, though the relationship might be strong. This lady is still a maid, and still she is trying to instill poison in the mind of her master, and she is directly accusing her master's husband, and he is Dasharatha, the king. So on many counts this lady is making a mistake, but then Kaikeyi for some reason is not admonishing her, and that is a huge issue, right? Apatsita prajnana svaiswantamanardhakam ardhe naivadite bharta kausalyam yojaishyati. Your husband, he'll always come to you and do sweet talk, but then all the profit is going to Kausalya only. And now finally she's see, look at the amount of groundwork she did before she has come to the point. Apavahyasa dushtatma bharatam tavabandhushu kalye sthapayitaramam rajye nihata kantake. Your husband who has got dushta buddhi, means who has got a very, in Hindi we call chalu, right? Who has got a very cunning intellect. He has sent away your son Bharata to your relative's place, and from tomorrow, without anybody stopping him, he is going to anoint Sri Ramachandra as the king, and he is giving away the whole kingdom to him. Shatru Pratipravadena Matreva Hitakamya Asivisha Ivankena Bale Paridhrudastvaya. Hey, innocent lady, you are actually having a snake in your lap, and that's your husband, and he is your Shatru. See, the amount of attack she is doing on Dasharatha, whenever we read this for the first time, or whenever we hear for the first time, we feel like, why is Kaikeyi not even responding? Because after all, she's her husband and she should know better, right? And then she's just going. Yadahi kuryat sarpo vashaturva pratyupekshitah rajnya dasaradhenadya saputratvam tadhakrita. She's again saying, you should not leave a, the way you are behaving is, you are behaving like someone who is staying silent beside a serpent, and your husband is plotting against you, all that stuff she's saying. And she criticizes him even further, and finally she says, Saprapta kalam Kaikeyi kshipram kuruhitam tava trayasva putramatmanam mamcha vismaya darsane. Hey Kaikeyi, take a proper decision now, do something that is going to benefit you, and you are such a beautiful lady who would shock the onlookers even now. She is indirectly hinting that your beauty is your weapon, so please use that, and you save yourself, your son, and even me. Mandharaya vajasrutva shayanasa subhanana uttastau harsha sampurna chandralekheva sharadi. Till now, Kaikeyi did not even, she was in the sleeping posture. She was still in the sleeping posture. She did not even sit. She was still she was still laying down and talking, or laying on her Hansatulika Talpa and Hansatulika Talpa, and she was talking. Now she changed her posture. She sat. Okay. And then Ativasad Sambrishta Kaikeyi Vismayanvita Ekamabharanam Tasye Kubjaye Praddau Subham. She immediately took a good ornament and she gave it to Manthara and said, Dattvatvabharanam Tasye Kubjaye Pramadottama Kaikeyi Mandharam Drushta Punareva Bravi Didam. So she's saying, Idam tu Mandhare Mahya Makhyasi Paramam Priyam Etanme Priyamakhyato Kimva Bhuyah Karomite. Hey Manthara, whatever you said is such a happy news for me. Whenever I hear a very good news from someone, I give them something. You gave me such good news that Sri Ramachandra is going to be the king. Aha, take this. Enjoy for yourself, because this is a very good news. Sri Ramachandra becoming a king is wonderful news for me. Rameva Bharatevaham Visesham Naupalakshaye Tasmat Tushtasmi Adraja Ramam Rajye Bhispekshati. She's saying, I don't have a difference between Sri Rama and Bharata. I see both of them as the same. If there is a Rajyabhisheka for Sri Ramachandra, I'm so happy. Name param kinchid ditastvayapinah priyam priyarhe suvacham vachah param tadhahyavochastvamatah priyottaram varam te pradadamitam vrunu. Oh Manthara, you gave me happy of the happier newses. Okay. And I don't have anything more happier moment than this. I am giving you a boon. Ask whatever you want. I'm going to do it for you. Now, how would Manthara respond to this? And how would she still brainwash Kaikeyi? That we would see in our next episode. I'm going very slow and I'm trying to touch as many shlokas here as possible, because these conversations are something that we should not miss in Srimad Ramayana. That's the reason why I'm trying to bring as much attention of yours into this as possible. Okay. Hope you are also enjoying this. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayaah, sarve bhadrani pasyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Om sarvam sadguru sai samhara swami charanarvinda arpanamastu. Swasti. Jai Shri Ram.